Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today I'm going to be starting a blind review series on Hell's Paradise Jigokuraku. I'm going to be going by the arcs list on the wiki, and the first arc is called the Island Arc, and it encompasses chapters 1 through 16. Prior to reading this first arc, I knew absolutely nothing about Jigokuraku except that it was a dark fantasy shonen and that many people seem to really enjoy it, and I can definitely see why people say it's so good. I'm going to start off this first review by giving a very brief summary of the plot for those who are unfamiliar with the series and are using this video to gauge your interest. The story follows Gabimaru, who is a highly trained assassin from a village called the Stone Village, whose shinobi are known for being incredibly powerful. Gabimaru, being amongst the most powerful of the shinobi, ends up marrying the village chief's daughter, who is a complete idiot. She's way too optimistic and just isn't compatible to marry an edgy assassin dude. Like, Gabimaru comes home from work after a long day of murder and his wife is all like, "Did you have fun at work today?" And then Gabimaru was all like,
"Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient and intellectually molested and ideologically molested?"
Then Gabimaru tells the village chief his daughter is an absolute retard and he wants a better wife. Then the village chief, who's obviously insulted, sets up Gabimaru to be captured and then executed by the shogun and his army. They attempt to execute him in every possible way. When they try to behead him, the sword breaks. When they try to split him in half by having horses run their separate ways, the horses end up choking themselves because his body won't split, and so on and so forth. Eventually, he is yet again sentenced to beheading, but this time by a woman from the Asaemon clan. This clan specializes in beheading, and this exceptionally talented woman can actually kill him. For the first time, we see Gabimaru actively dodge an attack. It is then revealed that the entire time he has been resisting the executions. Upon interrogation, Gabimaru then reveals to us the plot twist that he had actually loved his wife, and he was being set up by the village chief not because he wanted to leave her, but because he wanted to quit being an assassin and completely devote himself to her. This woman from the Asaemon clan, who is named Sagiri, then offers him the chance to be with his wife once again, being fully pardoned for all of his crimes. Fast forward a little bit and Gabimaru and Sagiri, along with 9 other highly dangerous criminals who are paired with Asaemon guardians, head over to a mysterious island to find an immortality elixir to give to the shogun in exchange for a pardon that will remove one of them from death row and give them immunity to all forms of punishment. This will allow Gabimaru to return to his wife and live peacefully. If you have absolutely no idea what the hell I just rambled on about, here's the quick version. Zabuza from Naruto needs to go to the Dark Continent from Hunter x Hunter and get a chug jug to give to the Hokage in exchange for his daughter's Punjabi. Easy. Although I jokingly compared the two, the island actually reminds me a lot of how I imagine the Dark Continent would be like. It is very intriguing and completely shrouded in mystery. I especially liked how it really plays on our fear of the unknown. We are first introduced to the dangers of this island by being showed a man who had merged with flowers. I thought that this was a very good way to show that the island was a weird and unforgiving environment. Having the characters set foot on the island gave me the same feeling I get when starting a new One Piece arc. That excitement of having no idea what you're in for, but just knowing that there are going to be a lot of crazy things that will range from cool to scary to just plain weird, and overall this island seemed to be just that. I was not disappointed in the slightest, and my expectations were actually very much exceeded. The breathtaking atmosphere coupled with the incredible artwork really made the island an incredibly immersive setting. The monster designs were absolutely incredible and probably some of the most well-designed monsters that I have seen in a while. They almost remind me of the Titans from Attack on Titan in the sense that they're a constant looming threat and their origin and unorthodox behavior are unexplained for the time being. While these monsters are very cool, I always prefer it when the protagonists are fighting something capable of outsmarting them, and by the way that this arc ended, it seems like in the next arc we're going to be exploring the intelligent life of the island and finding out if they're friends or foe, and I'm assuming most of them will be foe. While the setting and its inhabitants were my favorite part of Jigokuraku thus far, Gabimaru is a close second. I really like his character so far. I compared him to Zabuza earlier, and I really do think that they're similar. He is the strongest shinobi in a village that employs cruel tactics to build super soldiers and unexpectedly ends up giving up everything for somebody who he loves. I think he has a great design, and I love the fact that before the events of the series, he was a completely emotionless killer known as Gabimaru the Empty, and after meeting his wife and experiencing love, he is now seemingly human, and acts from his heart as well as from his brain. I think it is really cool how he only kills when absolutely necessary because he wants to act in a way that will make his wife happy when they meet again. His character is a really good mix of badassery and wholesomeness, and he's seemingly very intelligent as well, and I'm really looking forward to his backstory, which is undoubtedly going to be very tragic. And overall, Gabimaru left a really good impression on me. Unfortunately, however, I really didn't like any of the other characters. I know that I'm only 16 chapters in, but I haven't really been attached to any other character besides Gabimaru, and I'm only bringing this up because we've actually been given a few brief backstories for a good amount of the characters, and I actually found that to be the weakest part of the entire series so far. The backstories were fairly basic and not very interesting. I was mildly interested in Azachobe, that one guy whose entire personality thus far has been based around his adaptability. He seemed cool and I look forward to learning more about him, but as for sort of the main squad that we have formed for now, we have Gabimaru, who again has a good personality, Yuzuriha, who has 2 good personalities, Sensa, who is just complete trash, that guy's garbage, and then Sagiri, who seems to be the most important side character. I actually don't really like Sagiri because most of her character thus far has been based on her being underestimated because she's a woman, which is a trope that has been milked in every form of entertainment for years now. And her other main personality trait is learning how to balance her duty with her emotions, which is something that is already being done in a much better way through Gabimaru. Also, something that confused me about Sagiri was whenever her emotions were clouding her judgment, all of a sudden she's just butt naked with a bunch of hands coming out of the ground to grope her. This happens a good handful of times and it just confuses me every time. I don't know if it's some sort of weird symbolic thing that I don't get or if it's simply just fan service, but either way it's really weird. Does her body just feel that good that whenever she's not defending it, people just rise from the ashes to try to touch her? Like, imagine dying and then actually arising from the depths of hell just to cop a feel on some sweaty titties. Like,
you're teasing me, naughty.
anyways, to go over some of the big picture stuff, I really enjoyed the overall educational tone that the manga seemed to take. This was heavily accentuated by the translator notes that I had read, but even within the manga, I found myself learning a lot of random stuff, such as how being burned at the stake kills you with carbon monoxide poisoning from the smoke rather than the fire itself. And additionally, the Yamada Asayamon clan is based off an actual real-life clan who completely mastered the art of beheading. And just thinking about that is incredibly cool. Like, imagine an actual real life clan of these people that just constantly behead criminals, and they take a bunch of corpses and they just constantly practice their beheading and they fine tune their swords. Like, that just sounds like a straight up manga concept, and when I found out that was an actual in real life thing, it just made the manga seem that much cooler. Having an educational aspect to your story can be a little bit risky, but I think it paid off really well here. Another thing I wanted to mention was the art. The art and the paneling are absolutely incredible. I mentioned this before that the monster designs and the atmosphere of this island are great, but I just have to mention it again. And the paneling is actually really unique sometimes. For example, there's this one panel of Azachobe grabbing the text box. I thought that something as simple as that really made the character's aggression stand out, and it was just great. To conclude, I wanted to talk about the last few chapters and give some predictions on what will happen in the next arc. The fight between Gabimaru, Sagiri, and the giant was boring at first, but I thought the ending of that fight with lighting the forest on fire was very good. After that, learning the fact that the island was inhabited by sages is very exciting. I think the main part of the next arc will focus on them, and I really hope that they live up to my expectations. The first pair we met ended up inviting Chobe to a threesome, so I think it's safe to say that these characters will be intriguing. In terms of a future antagonist, I was kind of surprised to not have that established immediately, as many of the new shonen seem to do, such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, etc. But if I were to guess the antagonist, I would say it's just probably the chief of the Stone Village, because that dude's really weird. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I have to say on the first arc of Jigokuraku. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new so you don't miss my other arc reviews. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Goodbye.
And the good Lord said, "Arise, my son, arise, and you shall be healed."